Early in the 2023-24 season, we saw a major trade that may have a huge impact on the league. James Harden forced his way out of Philadelphia and is joining the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers were already good, and the real question is whether this move will guarantee them winning the NBA championship. In this video, we'll dive deep into the analysis of what needs to happen for the Clippers to win it all this year, and how likely is that to be the case. So before we move on to see how good the Clippers are at the moment, let's first break down the trade. So the Clippers landed Harden, PJ Tucker, and rookie Filip Petrusev for Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, Robert Covington, KJ Martin, and an unprotected 2028 first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a first-round pick swap. The first conclusion we get from the trade itself is that the Clippers paid a huge price to land Harden, and it's questionable if they really had to do that. Harden made it clear during the summer that he would never play for the Sixers' president of basketball operations, Daryl Morey, ever again, calling him a liar. The Sixers already faced a similar situation with Ben Simmons, whom they waited to change his mind and later traded him to the Brooklyn Nets for Harden. They didn't want to waste any more time and energy with Harden and had to get rid of him. So, why did the Clippers give up 4 players who were regular in their rotation and 3 draft picks to the Sixers for Harden, Tucker, and Petrusev when the Sixers were the ones desperately looking for a trade partner? Yes, the salary cap had a major impact, but the draft picks and KJ Martin were pieces that could have been kept in LA. Other than Harden, the Clippers got rookie Petrusev, who's already gone since they traded the Serbian to Sacramento for cash. Tucker may be a solid 3 and D guy, but the fact is that he's already 38 years old and shot only 42.7% from the field last season. So the Clippers actually got only Harden. And the real question is, can the beard help the Clippers win the NBA championship? The Clippers have redefined their identity in the past decade. They were one of the worst teams in NBA history for decades, making only 4 playoff appearances in their 40-year existence in the league. Things started to change for the better in the early 2010s when they added Chris Paul to Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, forming the team that was known as the Lob City. They were one of the hottest teams to watch in the league, but never made it past the second round of the playoffs. After that team was broken down, the Clippers started building another one with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. When these two arrived in LA, the Clippers came in the 2019-20 NBA season as top contenders to win the championship. They had a solid run that season, but lost to the Denver Nuggets in the second round after blowing up a 3-1 series lead. The following year, the Clippers made it to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in franchise history, but lost to the Phoenix Suns with Kawhi Leonard being sidelined with injury. He missed the entire 2021-22 season with the Clippers, missing the playoffs and saw minutes restrictions last season when they faced an early playoff exit. And here we are at the beginning of the 23-24 season with all this hype surrounding the Clippers as they are being called a top contender to win the West, even though Harden is yet to play his first game for the team. Okay, so let's have a real look at this team and judge by ourselves if Harden can be a difference maker for the Clippers. Harden is already 34 years old, and there is no doubt that he has passed his prime. He was named the league's MVP back in 2018 and won 3 consecutive scoring titles from 2018 to 2020. That was not that long ago, but there is no question that Harden is not the same player anymore. Since he left the Rockets, Harden has not played more than 65 games in the season and has not averaged more than 24.6 points per game. We are not saying that 24.6 is not good, but it's far from being the top 10 scorer in the league, and he would, most likely, not even be close to that number with the Clippers. We have to give Harden credit for averaging more than 10 assists per game in each of the last 3 seasons, and last year, he led the league with 10.7 assists per game for the Sixers. So, in order for him to have a major positive impact on the Clippers, Harden would need to step up and be an elite scorer again, while still being a solid facilitator and getting his teammates involved. He would play with Russell Westbrook in the backcourt, and both of them have a lot to prove. The two played together at the beginning of their careers in Oklahoma City, where they made it to the NBA Finals in 2012. They both won the MVP and the scoring title since then, but never put themselves in a situation to play for the championship again. Westbrook had an even worse time with the Lakers, and just like Harden, he got himself out of a situation that was not a good fit for him, trying to rejuvenate his career with the Clippers. So the Clippers would need these two to play like their old selves, which, to be honest, would probably not be the case. However, having a guard line with 2 former MVPs sounds like a winning recipe. Adding Harden and Westbrook to Leonard and George definitely makes the Clippers a super team, or at least that's what they look like on paper. But what is the real situation? Will they function well together? Is any of these four superstars in the proper shape? Who is the legitimate leader of the team? Is the supporting cast good enough to win? All of these are legit questions that every Clippers fan should ask. And if we try to break this down, we're afraid we have some bad news. So let's start with Harden. He's the best player in the league in his last seasons with the Rockets, and we're not saying that because we think so, but he was voted by the players as the best among them, so no one can deny that fact. Still, the Rockets were a team built for Harden, and he could do whatever he wanted. That includes not even trying to play defense, taking every shot that he wants, not being responsible for anything that goes wrong, and eventually not leading the Rockets further than the Western Conference Finals. Yes, Harden almost got those Rockets over the Warriors in their prime, as Houston had a 3-2 lead in the series and a double-digit lead in the next game that they eventually lost. After Harden realized he could not win in Houston, he decided it was time to go elsewhere. In a similar situation like this one, Harden joined a solid team, going to Brooklyn to play alongside Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Those Nets looked even scarier than these Clippers, but for various reasons, they didn't make it further than the second round of the playoffs. And one of those reasons was James Harden. He never shot more than 41% from the field and 33% from the three-point line, and most of the time lacked effort. It was obvious that he could not play well if he was not the main man on the team, and before you know it, he demanded a trade out of Brooklyn. What made things worse was that Harden did not ask for a trade openly, since he did not want to be blamed for escaping another scenario that seemed like a winning one. The Nets decided to ship him to Philly in exchange for another all-star trying to put himself first, Ben Simmons. That trade did not work well for either team. Harden was expected to learn the lesson and finally act like a veteran. He was in an excellent situation in Philadelphia, playing alongside another superstar who, this time, was not in his position. Pairing Harden and Joel Embiid looked like a great move by the Sixers, but things did not work well this time either. Harden played well from time to time, but was never consistent, even though, as we said, he led the league in assists last season, and we give him credit once again for that. As he said, the real reason for leaving the Sixers was his relationship with the front office, and we do not know what actually happened. Still, there have been many superstars in the past who played well on the court even though they had issues with the people managing the franchise. So, this was another occasion where Harden chose to run instead of fight. So, how good is Harden today? It's been a while since he was an elite scorer in the league, and we have seen him being completely out of shape many times. He did not go through the training camp with the Sixers, so is Harden even ready for the NBA season? He would be under the spotlight from day one in LA, and there would be a lot of people who would use everything against him. Harden is seen as the savior of the Clippers, and if they don't play well, the fingers will be pointed in his direction. Kawhi Leonard is still seen as the leader of this team, but he's had his own issues in the past couple of years. He had a tough knee injury that sidelined him for more than a season, and he's never fully recovered from it. Kawhi did not play back-to-back games, and when he went down in the playoffs, the team did not even say that he was out for the season, listing him as day-to-day until the Suns eliminated the Clippers. So Kawhi is still one of the best two-way players in the league, but he has played a total of 104 games in the last 3 seasons. Things do not look great with Paul George either. The good thing is that when he's on the court, he's an elite scorer, but just like Leonard, he regularly gets injured and misses significant time of the season. We come to Westbrook, whose play has decreased the most since his prime. Westbrook was a beast when he was with the Thunder, but never regained the same form since he left OKC. He had a decent individual season with the Wizards, but not with the Rockets, and especially not with the Lakers. So the Clippers' success will mainly depend on the individual shape these four will be in and how they will function together. George may not be the problem, but Harden, Westbrook, and Leonard have shown their huge egos in the past, and as we all know, the older the players get, their egos become more of a problem. Tyronn Lue is a player's coach and will have a ton of work to incorporate these three together. When it comes to the rest of the team, the Clippers are pretty limited. The main reason for that is the trades they made for Westbrook and Harden, sending many valuable role players. Now they are left with Ivica Zubac, Miles Plumlee, Bones Highland, Norman Powell, and Terrence Mann. Powell and Zubac are very good in their roles. Powell is a great defender who can get hot on the offensive end if given a chance, while Zubac is a reliable rebounder on both ends of the floor. Highland would probably not see much playing time, just like Mann and Plumlee is the only other big besides Zubats, so the Clippers will have to gamble on him. Long story short, the supporting cast does not look well. In conclusion, this is a good trade in terms of publicity. These players have been superstars in the league for a decade now and have huge fan bases. The fans want to see super teams and their favorite players compete for the title. On the other hand, this scenario has proven to be a disappointing one more times than it's actually worked, and this may be another tough season for the Clippers owner Steve Ballmer and their fans.